Hi Explorer, welcome to our YouTube channel. Today, we are diving into a historical event which lead to end and begin of new era. Today we are going to find out the answer of why Soviet Union collapse. Introduction. The collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991 marked the end of an era and the conclusion of the Cold War. This historic event was not a result of a single cause, but rather a complex interplay of various factors that led to the dissolution of one of the world's superpowers. In this documentary, we will delve deep into the factors leading to the collapse of the Soviet Union, exploring the political, economic, defense, and nuclear elements that contributed to its downfall. 1. Political policies. One of the critical factors leading to the collapse of the Soviet Union was its political policies. The tension between the Soviet government and its increasingly empowered citizenry eroded the state's credibility. As people grew disillusioned with the Communist Party and its oppressive policies, a wave of dissent and protest spread across the country, challenging the Soviet regime. The introduction of glasnost, openness, and perestroika, restructuring, by Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev was an attempt to reform the system, but it inadvertently accelerated the process of change, ultimately contributing to the Soviet Union's collapse. 2. Economic challenges. The Soviet Union's economic challenges played a pivotal role in its decline. The centralized, planned economy was unable to keep up with the demands of a rapidly changing world. Shortages of essential goods, inefficiencies in production, and a stagnant economy left the Soviet population disillusioned and dissatisfied. The stark contrast in living standards between the Soviet Union and Western nations underscored the economic struggles faced by ordinary Soviet citizens. 3. Defense spendings. The Soviet Union's extensive defense spending was another significant factor contributing to its collapse. The arms race with the United States placed immense strain on the country's resources. The Soviet Union devoted a substantial portion of its budget to military endeavors, diverting resources away from vital domestic needs. The signing of the INF Treaty in 1987 signaled a shift in global politics, reducing tensions but also highlighting the Soviet Union's economic vulnerabilities. 4. The nuclear factor. The Chernobyl nuclear disaster in 1986 exposed critical flaws in the Soviet Union's nuclear program, further undermining its credibility. The secrecy surrounding the accident and the inadequate response damaged both the Soviet government's reputation and the perception of its competence. Internationally, the Chernobyl incident raised concerns about nuclear safety, straining the Soviet Union's relations with other nations. 5. Events leading to the dissolution. Several key events in the late 1980s paved the way for the dissolution of the Soviet Union. The rise of the Solidarity movement in Poland challenged Soviet influence in Eastern Europe. The fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 symbolized the end of the Cold War and the weakening of the Soviet Union's grip on its Eastern European satellite states. Protests and resistance movements within the Soviet Union itself demonstrated a growing desire for change and independence among its constituent republics. Conclusion. In conclusion, the collapse of the Soviet Union was a multifaceted process, resulting from a combination of internal and external factors. The end of the Cold War, economic challenges, changing political dynamics, and the legacy of the Chernobyl disaster all played a role in the downfall of this once mighty superpower. On December 31, 1991, the Soviet Union was officially dissolved, and its constituent republics gained full independence, marking the end of an era and the beginning of a new chapter in world history. I hope you enjoyed our video. See you next time. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy.